All right, welcome everyone to Pocus's Go to Market podcast. I am so excited to have a guy here who is the chief evangelist at Webflow. We have a lot of different topics that we're going to cover today. Everything from previously being a co-founder of a company called Intellimize, the evolution of AI and B2B, and more. And so, for those of you who might have not joined one of these live podcasts before, this is really your time to learn and chat with incredible go-to-market leaders like guys. So feel free to probe any and dive in with any questions in the chat as we go through. And otherwise, just very excited for you all to be here. And a quick background on Guy, like I mentioned, he is chief evangelist at Webflow, um, formerly the CEO and co-founder of Intellimize. He has an awesome background with many years in B2B, a lot on the marketing side as well. So very excited for all the insight we're going to learn today. And before I start probing you with questions, Guy, maybe you could do a quick introduction of yourself.
Happy to, and Alexa, thanks for having me here. Always fun to talk with you. Grateful to be part of this amazing audience and discussion. I have a little bit of an atypical career because I was going to design airplanes for a living. I spent half of college coding AI to design planes. I then spent about a decade in product and then about a decade building and leading marketing teams. And spent 15 years of that in ad tech, and then switched over to building a machine learning personalization company called Intellimize that Webflow recently acquired.
That is amazing. I didn't know that quick story about you. That is cool.
I mean, the line from aerospace engineer to CMO is a well-trodden one, right?
I see it over and over. Have you ever seen I had a similar background? I
Don't, but by some strange coincidence, our VP of sales was an aerospace engineer, which is also not a normal thing.
That's so cool. Well, we'll save that topic for, another time, but I'd love to hear more. But for the purpose of this conversation, so you co-founded Intellimize and 10 years ago, before, the boom of ChatGPT, you were using AI for website personalization. So I'd be curious, how different is this today in the tech landscape today versus what you were doing with AI in 2016?
Great question. Things have changed just a little, but in another sense, they haven't as much. AI has been around for 30 plus years. I mentioned I was using it in college. And back in 2016, when we were building Intellimize, we were creating proprietary predictive AI to personalize web experiences. Like today, you might call what we built, you might call it an agent, even though it's not Gen AI based, because we would take context from a graphic, demographic, contextual, behavioral that we knew about a prospect, and then choose among all the possible combinations of experiences a marketer had come up with. Sometimes there were millions or billions of combinations, not pieces of creative. And we then choose which one to show each unique visitor in the moment.
Hmm.
The logic wasn't predetermined in advance with rules. It was generated on the fly, similar to how ads decide what to show, which definitely ties to the ads background. And as we all know, I mean, the landscape's totally different today, right? With the Cambrian explosion of tools and Gen AI enabling new use cases, new capabilities, almost on a monthly basis, and the ability to not just choose what to show, which we were doing, but create new things to show people that weren't there before.
Hmm. A- And I would be curious, maybe so we talked about the history, of how things have changed, and I see that too. Like AI, what is interesting is I think people now associate AI to only Gen AI, whereas like AI has been, like I worked at an AI company called Data Miner, and we were doing more like data science and predictive analytics, um, which is still AI. It's just different than what people think of today of interfacing it with chat with tools like ChatGPT and Claude.
Didn't I use Twitter feeds, data miner?
Yes, exactly.
I was at Twitter for 3 years before it went public, watching data miner grow. We were doing space parallel.
Maybe we were on some meetings together. But so that's kind of how it changed in the past. But going forward, think very strongly that the next 2 years in AI will be bigger than the last 20. So I'm curious, like, do you have the same perspective? And if so, yes or no, still there's going to be transformation. So where do you see that transformation happening in marketing over the next maybe 18 months to 2 years?
I strongly agree with you, Alexa. I mean, in 2016, to use AI, you almost always needed a very expensive, very smart data scientist and ML engineer or some third party tool. Today, you can self serve a lot of that effort. And so I think in the next 18 months, we're going to see teams move beyond tiny objects, 70% wow inducing demo, to investing a lot of time to go to the 100% operationalized Gen AI that is like well integrated into their core workflows, from content creation to analyzing lots of data to taking action. And I think it will continue to be a force multiplier for growth and demand gen teams, accelerating our work by being a thought partner, by being a draft creator, enabling almost infinite content, where I actually think when that plays its way through, we're going to shift our attention to showing the right content and experiences to the right person at the right time. Because we always thought we had too little content. Those days are over. We now have so much of it. And I think part of that will be about stringing together the right set of experiences digitally with marketers, humanly, if that's a word, with salespeople. Um, which both of our companies think a lot about. I also think we'll be able to act on some new signals. I was talking to somebody recently who said, "Hey, although building permit data has been public for a long time, it's effectively not been actionable." And this person now goes and scrapes them. And, for a construction company, that's incredibly valuable data to help them think about where to invest their energy. And so, in my humble opinion, when all that plays through, what becomes important, I'm curious what you think of this. I think what matters when you can create an infinite content, where you can create a bunch of new things on your own, intimately understanding a day in the life of your customer,
Yeah.
brand and distribution, proprietary data, and human connections. Does that land for you?
For sure. I mean, I think that the most common I just got off another webinar where I think the most common question is like, where's AI taking my job and like what do I need to do to stand out? And definitely resonates with that for the salesperson. I think that there's like the human connection piece that like AI just not yet can can be replicated. And so there is always that, but there is ways to make people more efficient and timely and relevant with their outbound. And I might turn it back to you actually, like for the role, maybe people earlier in their career and growth or demand gen or marketing, um, is their career impacted? Like what is that? Does the role change? Like should they be focusing on different things? How does that work?
I think a lot of us are trying to figure that out. I've heard extreme things like, uh, I wish I remembered who it was. Some executive was saying, my kid thinks I don't need to learn anything in particular because I'll be able to learn it on the fly with Gen AI. In my humble opinion, that's a bridge too far. I do think it will remain valuable for us to be able to logic and reason. Like my kids are like, wait, why do we need to read all this stuff? Why don't I just summarize it? And I'm like, because being able to put together a logical argument, put things together like that will remain super important for us. One, two, um, walking a day in your customer's shoes ultimately is the source of all the value we're creating. In my mind, that's true north. And that requires being able to engage with people, have human connection. And so I do worry about like, how do you get experienced people when so much of the junior stuff can be automated? I hope that means that folks earlier on in their careers can quickly learn to automate the road stuff and frankly, just advance in their thinking and advance in their career that much more quickly. We'll see. What do you think?
I think this is something that everyone's talking about across all jobs, and I think a big one is not related to this audience, but just so you know, it's not just go to market, like, this is a big conversation in engineering as well, of, like, how do you become an amazing engineer if all of the lower level tasks are being replaced so that you can just jump to the next level? So let's say like levels 1 and level 2 can get replaced or automated with AI across any. How do you get to level 3 without doing 1 and 2? And I mean, it's an open question. I think I don't have perspectives on demand gen or engineering because I don't know it well enough. But for sales, I think it's the people that can be more strategic and consultative and relationship based. They can use it to their advantage to be able to say, "Okay, I'm going to use AI to my advantage to up level my career and skip all the, mass spray and pray emailing and just like completely cold without a perspective, cold calling. And so there's ways to become smarter faster by doing the research and being more prepared. So I think there's ways honestly, it's one of those things that I'm excited to see play out because I feel like it's one of those things that are just so hard to predict. It's like with the internet, like people couldn't think about what is the difference between a seller pre-internet, post-internet. And when you think about it, there are a lot of things that stay the same. Like the art of sales has been around forever. And of course, there's a lot of differences as well.
I could not agree more. I think just like in .com one, we would talk about an internet company, and today we talk about AI companies.
Exactly. It's a company.
That's not, it's just a company. Totally with you. And the fact that like the fundamentals of sales have remained the same, I think the fundamentals of marketing will remain the same. We are trying to persuade human beings to take action by showing them something valuable that they want and are willing to pay for. And that those fundamentals do remain the same. And in the same vein that you're like, hey, a seller can become more strategic. If a marketer can do a better job of tailoring messaging, language, experiences, creative, because they're able to be more strategic, walk a day in their customer's shoes, have a thought partner debating back and forth with Gen AI in a way that, maybe they're embarrassed to say to their manager. They're like, oh, I'm going to sound really dumb. Well, now you can have like the 101, 201, and 301 conversation, and then go have the 401 conversation out in the market and get feedback on that. I think that's a great accelerant for folks and will help them grow a lot more quickly.
Yeah, that's a really good way of framing it. And it is I think something for anyone, include not even just more junior people, but anyone pushing yourself to use AI more and more, even if it only saves 30 seconds, you just get into the rhythm like of okay, this could be something that is automated or made more efficient with AI, even if it's like, I need to respond to this email or I need to Google this thing, like pushing yourself to just use AI more, you'll become more comfortable and it'll become more of a habit in your daily routine. Uh,
And strongly with you. And I think this is different than .com one, than mobile, than social because of the speed. Because I think even folks who are spending a bunch of time trying to keep up with it are really struggling to keep up with it. And so, like, things that just weren't automatable, weren't possible before, wait a few months, they are, right? I see people like, oh, I tried that thing and it really wasn't that great. Oh, it's 3 months later. What was underneath it? The LLM underneath it got exponentially better, and now it is a great thing. And I can imagine in our product, in Webflow's product, we have the predictive AI that was Intellimize, is now Webflow optimized. We're building a bunch of Gen AI in, and to your point, the fundamentals remain the same. So it's not, oh, we're just for AI everywhere. It's the jobs to be done remain the same. How do we do them more effectively? So somebody wants to create a website. Great. You can tune Gen AI to be brand aware and help create something that's not templated. They want to create content. Fine. That's straightforward. Create a bunch of words, images over time. Oh, they want to translate their site. There are LLMs tuned specifically for that. And each piece we go into, we're like, oh, well, once you've created the site, maybe you want to create a page, maybe you want to create a component, maybe, and we sort of peel back this onion that keeps getting deeper on like, wow, it can help here, it can help here, it can help here. And so I'm with you that somebody, regardless of stage of career, using it more day in, day out, your light bulbs will go off that didn't, that none of us could have predicted.
hmm. It is, and I think there's also a little bit of like an intimidation piece of getting started with it, that like this feeling that you're behind, which we're in the so early days, like, hilariously early days. And so just, like, getting started and figuring it out is important. So, I'd be switching gears a little. I love your story and your background, going from founder to chief evangelist, and, I love learning more about what a chief evangelist is. So can you tell me a little bit about, what even that is and ho your journey from one role to the next and navigating that shift? I'd love to hear more.
Happy to share. And by the way, on your previous point, I totally agree. Like, we all feel behind. We all feel moments of like, wait a minute, I'm used to being really good at what I do, and I feel really uninformed, dumb, naive early. Like all of us, do. Everyone does. And there's a lot of fumbling around of like, oh wait, I did that, and that didn't make any sense in retrospect. It's new territory, which is kind of fun. We all have a learning curve.
So, we're all learning together. And it is funny. One more thing I'll say on that is I feel like in venture capital, because a lot of these companies are VC backed, and VC, there used to be internet funds. And now we would laugh if it was like the internet fund. We only invest in internet. Like, that would be crazy. Like, and it's the same thing with AI funds now. Like, I think we all make it something that it's not. Like, in the future, it's just going to be, it's AI. It's part of our everyday, both work and personal.
Could not agree with you more. And to answer your other question, you know, the to take a half step back, like the journey, in particular, the time in ads helping contribute to the evolution of personalization in ads at Twitter, Brightroll, Yahoo. That led Jen, Brian, and me to co-found Intellimize. Our mission was to optimize the world's buyer journey, starting with the website. And we saw a huge opportunity to apply AI-driven personalization approaches that are prevalent in ad tech, to do that on the website, which as a marketer, I'm like, we're all guilty of putting 99% of our energy and time into the paid stuff and forgetting all of that when people get to the website where we generate pipeline for sales, where we drive revenue directly. And so we saw lots of opportunity there.
Mm.
The acquisition of Intellimize by Webflow was just a natural progression of that mission. When Webflow reached out to us, we jointly saw this huge potential to enable CMOs in partnering with sales to do both parts of their job really well, to namely build their brand with visually stunning enterprise scale brand building websites and deliver pipeline and revenue through AI optimization, account-based marketing, personalization, all without requiring engineering. Like, you can do those things without it being a trade-off, without compromise now. And you talked about what's it been like to transition. Candidly, the cultural alignment between the two companies is better than any M&A I've ever heard of, seen of, been a part of. And that privilege allowed us to ship a genuinely integrated, not the band-aids we all normally talk about, product in 5 months. And now I'm enjoying this role a ton. Like, the role itself, in some sense, it's like a subset of the CEO role. I'm clearly not CEO, but like the piece of it that this is promulgating a point of view. I'm at the world in person, writing, speaking, and then in individual deals, helping engage senior people. And as a human, I genuinely get energy from and enjoy talking to peer CMOs. Like, it makes me happy to talk shop. Part of this journey was realizing this is one of my hobbies. This like, if I had infinite time and money, I would still be doing this because it's fun to talk through.
That's awesome. Something that and this is, I didn't prep you for this question, but so Webflow is a customer focus, and I've gotten to know a lot of the Webflow team, and they're all phenomenal. And something we talked about is a lot of why you were excited about partnering with Webflow was because of the culture. Can you tell me a little bit about the culture of both companies and how it meshed so well? Like, the type of people that you think work really well at these companies and what made both companies so successful?
Well, I'll echo right back. Getting to know your team has been extraordinary, and I sense that all three teams think of the world similarly. Um, it's an environment where people realize the game they're playing is to make customers wildly successful. It's not to empire build, right? I've been in other companies, we all have, where you realize they truly are optimizing for resources. And we used to call it cookie licking. You'd see something and it's like you walked up to a tray of cookies and you lick the cookies. You're not actually going to eat all the cookies. You're claiming the territory. And we use that phrase all the time at one particular company in the past. Our values at Intellimize, I'll share them, but the ones at Webflow, they call them core behaviors, are almost a mirror. We said, hey, look, customers are true north. Like, that's how you make decisions. We want to create the best professional experience of our lives. So
Mm.
customers, team, those are in order. The rest were out, not in any particular order. We were humble, empathetic, logical and data driven, and proactively transparent. You combine those things, you do get an environment where like 99.9% of the energy goes out the door to making customers successful. And then you attract people who are interested in that kind of environment, who could make more at a later stage company, but we're like, I actually want to enjoy myself more at work. I don't want to devote a bunch of energy to all this mumbo jumbo. And then the rest just flows, right? You'll solve the problems.
Yep.
Just building the business.
Such a good way to think about it. The beauty of startups, and I'd put Webflow in startup territory, even though it's not, but like the smaller companies with these cultures, it's that you spend all of your energy on doing good work rather than politics. Um, which is super fun. But going back to from culture back to B2B marketing. Tell me a little bit about future of marketing and demand gen. What are some successful tactics that you see that you think every company will need to adopt in 2025? And then on the inverse, are there any that you think are overhyped?
Yes, I think, actually, broadly speaking, like, the whole playbook itself is changing. It's you said it earlier, it's less about spray and pray blasts.
Yeah.
It's more about meeting each prospect where they are in their journey with genuinely valuable and personalized experiences. And on the one hand, that's sort of motherhood and apple pie, right? We've said right message, right time, right person forever. On the other hand, we can do that at scale in a way we were not able to before. And so some of the things, um, I did mean it earlier when I'm like, hey, we have underattended to the front doors of our business, our websites. It's a place to make your brand shine and deliver revenue. Why? 94% of B2B buyers research online before buying. We surveyed 500 marketing leaders. 91% of them say, my website's my biggest revenue generating channel. And by the way, all the other channels, almost all of them touch it. And so if it gets better, they get better. And finally, there's so much low hanging fruit there because 95 to 98% of the people who we attract there don't convert. Okay. We then should extend that throughout the sales experience and make that as personalized as much as we're talking about making the website, we should strategically integrate AI to more deeply personalize the journey for each prospect, to understand where they are, to reflect back the context of each prospect in the moment so we can be more relevant. We should then be able to, focus on a bunch of high intent signals, prioritizing, frankly, the quality over the quantity to tailor the efforts towards prospects showing real interest. And that then touches on a topic I think you and I uh, have a lot of energy around, which is ABM, ABX, where, marketing and sales are walking arm in arm. And we can go deeper into that if that's interesting. To
Definitely.
your point about overhyped, I think relying on mass produced Gen AI content without a strong personalization strategy, content for content's sake, like it's becoming noise. Relevance has always been key. It's even more so now. And the second is chasing every shiny new AI tool. If the tools may in fact be magical and do things you couldn't do before, you got to tie them into what you want to achieve. Like it's not AI for AI's sake. It's to achieve some real business problem, which is something you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, let's actually dive in more. What is your take on this resurgence of ABM, ABX?
I I hear others also say resurgence. I'm not
You look
sure that
wondering.
way. Yeah, no, really. I mean, I think I've always been a big believer in it. Like, real example. After I was fortunate to receive the offer to lead marketing at Brightroll, programmatic video advertising company, like a dozen years ago, the very next thing I did was take the CRO out for drinks, happened to be a guy, and ask him, "Do you really want to do this with me?" And if he said anything but a full throated yes, I wouldn't have accepted the job. And so, like, I totally agree that GTM roles are becoming more interconnected, and the focus on personalized, excellent prospect experiences, in some sense, it a little bit can blur the lines between
Yeah.
marketing, sales, CS, but it naturally leads to, yes, if you want to call it a resurgence, like we have to be tightly engaged CMOs and CROs so that you can deliver this consistent, relevant experience, especially for the high value accounts, to both give them what they need and maximize their potential revenue for us as a company. And by the way, when you're doing hyper personalization at scale, which AI enables, like that's fuel for all of this, for the marketer sending out messages and for the seller going engaging prospects. And I see you
Yeah.
like,
No, because it's just such a I see this in all our customers, and I see it in our own company, like, the overlap of the CMO and CRO role is becoming increasingly it's collapsing. Like, who owns what is becoming more and more confusing, which is great because it means well, it's great and there's areas where it's not great. Like, it's great in the sense of, like, it's great when it works well. When companies have true alignment of CMOs and CROs or whoever leads the marketing and sales team, it's magic. Like, you have the same goals, same North Star, same messaging, same definition of what is relevant, what is timely, what is interesting. But it's almost becoming blurred. Like which kind of jobs to be done fit under each persona is like increasingly confusing. And you see that really tactically with like the SDR role. Like, who does that fit under these days? And then the other thing of when it's bad is because they're collapsing more, when they're not aligned, you just slow down the business a ton because it just has to be aligned to move forward. And so I'd be curious how you think about that, and then also, like, if you have a strong perspective of where the SDR role should fit.
Um, I could not agree with you more that it is a lot more fun and a lot more effective when everybody's super clear on what we're trying to achieve and how we're trying to achieve it. And when that's working really well, I'm with you. It feels like hand in glove, sales and marketing. And it does feel like one continuous motion out into market. Where do SDRs belong? Transparently, we had it in both places at Intellimize. I think it can live in both. I think it depends on how you're setting it up and what it means, because the SDR can mean so many, right? Is it outbound? Is it inbound? Is it cold? Is it warm? Is it hot? The type of lead that they're servicing. Is it more trying to get practitioner? Is it trying to get C-level? Like, I think it can live in either or. And I understand and respect that different folks think strongly that it belongs in sales or it belongs in marketing. Um, uh, there are pros and cons to each, right? If in sales, you can say, hey, they own the number fully, they have control of their own destiny. If it's in marketing, in particular, if it's inbound, you can say, hey, we're generating leads more effectively. We actually had a time where we split the outbound and the inbound. I also think the role is changing a lot because of AI. I'm curious, where do you think SDRs belong?
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Right now, Pokas belong under head of marketing, but we might move it to head of sales. Like, honestly, I think it depends on if you have an organization like you described, which Pokas I would say is similar, where everyone's on the same team. There's no politics. Everyone's running after the best, just like running after this massive vision, and we're on the same page. It doesn't really matter where they sit. Honestly, it's like who has more of the bandwidth to do it in this moment? It's like honestly how we do it at Pocus. So I don't have a strong perspective besides it has to be aligned.
I'm with you. And I get that in larger orgs, people will come with battle scars that basically are stereotypes or preconceived notions from what they've experienced before. And that it's up to the leaders in each org then to say, no, no, it's different here. Like you making the educated assumption based on previous experience that if you're in sales, it means blah, 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 blah. And if you're in marketing, it means blah, 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 blah. And we as leaders can go change that and be like, the rules of the road are different here.
Totally. I think it also depends, one more tactical thing is also, like, how scaled are the SDRs versus strategic? So if it's very, like, transactional, high velocity, automated, that is typically under marketing and core closely with demand gen versus more of the strategic outbound supporting an AE makes sense more under sales. But, like, the reality is so long as you have the same goals, same North Star, same vision, executing, it shouldn't matter. Yeah, well, Guy, I know somehow we're already at time. We didn't get through all the questions, but I feel like we could have gone for an hour. But this
Right.
was
I got you.
awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I love your story from founder to chief evangelist and all your perspectives on B2B marketing. You are phenomenal. So thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Alexa, thanks for having me. It is always a joy to talk with you. The endless energy and positivity. Excited to go continue the conversation out of market.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. Good to see everyone, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.